Where residents, as you can see, are already putting out their trash bags for tomorrow morning's collection. There are some red reflecting signs behind me. Those are in place to make sure people don't drive any further past those signs. And take a look at this. This is all that remains from a book that was in that room. And I got to tell you, if you have to mail something, now's a good time to do it because there was not much of a line at all. And you know that is only going to change in the coming days. Hope you got your Powerball tickets. They just stopped selling them about 2 minutes ago. There was a steady stream of folks here at the Hy-Vee on Nifong getting their tickets last minute. Janet, 34 days until the election. It's getting close. You're a lifelong Missouri resident and Obama supporter for November. How do you like his chances after watching an hour of the debate tonight? Springfield down here in Greene County, a predominantly Republican city, but it went to McCaskill this evening, as well as the big cities of Kansas City, Columbia, and St. Louis. And so that's where you can assume she probably got her biggest votes of the night. Well, tough luck. By then, the cellar will be long gone. It costs less than $3 a day to feed an inmate. That's actually less than going to McDonald's and buying 3 cheeseburgers.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Dan Kennedy. Morgan County prosecutors have charged a Stover man in connection with Monday's murders of Wayne and Mabel Wells.
Today.
Of course, Newtown, Connecticut, small town. Just kind of hard to imagine what the atmosphere is like there tonight. And actually, one of our reporters, KMUA, to Addison Walton, is here now. Addison, you have family there. You spoke to them today. Can you give us a little idea of what the atmosphere is? Yeah. Breaking news this afternoon around 4 today. A hiker fell 30 to 40 feet in Rockbridge State Park. 10 units responded to the accident. One of the 2 defendants in a case of child endangerment and drug possession from Holt Summit appeared in court for her preliminary hearing today. Megan Ayers was charged in June with 2 felonies and 1 misdemeanor involving the death of her 9-month-old baby. And that's where our team coverage continues tonight in Jefferson City at Adkins Stadium. Folks, it's kind of cold out there, huh? And speaking of football, Mizzou has made its way to new cities, new campuses, new states, new stadiums during its inaugural SEC season. Well, the Cardinals can take their 2nd straight trip to the World Series with a win tonight in Game 5 against the San Francisco Giants. So today on Facebook, we asked you, what are you doing for the game tonight? And do you think it'll be the last game of the series? So here's what you had to say. The previous record was 27 people packed into a car. Look at them go. You ever done that?
No, okay. No, and I won't either.
Handfuls of ripened coffee cherries are fed to elephants on a reserve in Thailand. Mother Nature then goes to work, and the beans are reharvested. Reharvested. Do we need to say more? Kennett, Missouri resident Tina Brown knows hotels are in high demand during football season. That's why she made reservations at the Tiger Hotel in January for Missouri's homecoming football game in October.
We went online to find out when they were going to start taking reservations. We found out that they were, and so we went ahead and booked it, and I put it out of my mind.
This email confirms Brown booked 1 room at $149 a night for 2 nights at the Tiger Hotel. The total, after tax, $331.82. 2 months later, in March, Brown receives this email from the hotel saying, in part, the hotel had trouble processing her credit card in January. It would then be charging her card, the $330, for the room. But that wasn't a problem for Brown. The real problem began in July, she says, when hotel management called her asking for more money for the room. Hotel officials say its third-party booking agency booked the rooms at the wrong rate. Brown says the hotel told her she'd now have to pay double, $600 for the weekend, or find another place to stay.
I don't hear anything until the last week of July to tell me that I'm going to have to pay double. I'm going to have to do all this. And I wasn't doing anything wrong.
I reached out to hotel management all week long, but they refused an interview. They did eventually send me a written statement saying, a recent room audit did uncover a third-party booking system error that caused one room type to be oversold. We are certain this is a very limited situation with less than 5 guests being affected. Precautionary steps have been made to ensure this does not happen again. What the statement does not answer is why the hotel would not honor the original rate it promised. The Missouri Attorney General's office says the hotel is legally bound to do that and that the confirmation is a binding legal contract. Ethically speaking, Mike O'Neill of the Better Business Bureau in Columbia says it's bad business.
Typically, consumers are told that if they sign a contract, they're held to it by the business. Well, we expect that same sort of contract to be held vice versa.
When you've made a mistake as a business, I don't care if it's Tiger Hotel or whoever, you assume that the customer's right. You don't alienate a customer, and that's what I feel like I've spent. It's alienated.
What began as a weekend getaway has turned into a major headache for Brown.
On Friday, we told you about a woman claiming the Tiger Hotel tried to double her rates after making reservations for an SEC weekend months in advance. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reed.
And I'm Jennifer Long. Tonight, at least one more possible victim of price gouging has surfaced. KMU8's Dan Kennedy broke this story. He joins us live from the Tiger Hotel with the latest developments.
Just before 5 o'clock this evening, I talked to the Attorney General's office on the phone. They said the Tiger Hotel has now agreed to refund all customers who were overcharged for their stay here in Columbia. This all began after our investigation aired on Friday. The Attorney General's office began looking into complaints from at least 2 customers this week after Senator Kurt Schaefer also got involved, calling the office, asking them to get involved. Now, I want to tell you how this all began. We spoke to Kennett, Missouri resident Tina Brown about her troubles with the Tigers on Friday. Brown booked a room 10 months in advance for 2 nights in October. The total, $330. Now, hotel management called her in July saying they were doubling that rate, $600 for the weekend, giving her no option but to pay up or find another room. Now, the Attorney General's office told me the original confirmation is a binding legal contract. Brown formally filed a complaint with the Attorney General's office after our story aired, and like we mentioned, at least one other person did that as well. And I see that just last night the Tiger Hotel actually took down their Facebook page. Coming up tonight at 9 and 10, we'll have reaction from the Tiger Hotel. They issued a statement, and we will share that with you tonight at 9 on the CW. Live from downtown Columbia, I'm Dan Kennedy, KMU8 News. Glenn Laverick's entrepreneur career has taken him from England to Canada to right here in Missouri. He has a simple 3-word motto: in chaos, profit. But a Target 8 investigation reveals amidst plenty of chaos, Laverick struggles to make a profit. And tonight, he speaks out in an exclusive sit-down interview. Marshall, 2003. British businessman Glenn Laverick and local Marshall resident David Riley had high hopes for this tiny town. The pair began construction on an outdoor music venue at the Saline County Fairgrounds. Laverick and Riley formed a business, Full Circle Leisure LLC, and began contracting local businesses for everything from signage to construction to electricity. And in 2004, the pair's labor came to fruition for the grand opening of the Crossroads Amphitheater.
Unlike anything we were accustomed to, anything we'd ever had here.
City Administrator Connie Latimer was Marshall's mayor at the time and says big crowds for a couple of big-name bands brought big business for Marshall. But suddenly, the fun came to a halt as the pair began canceling concerts. Laverick says the amphitheater was too big for the small town.
They were canceled, I think, largely because there wasn't enough support, from ticket holders, and there just wasn't the density that was hoped for.
Laverick told a local newspaper he wasn't selling enough tickets to fill this Crossroads Amphitheater. The local newspaper also reported those customers would not be receiving a refund on those tickets. But now, here's where things start to get interesting. Laverick sold his interest in the company months before it went belly up, leaving Riley with the debt, filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy in October of 2004, only 11 months after officially registering the company.
I'd done all I could and booked all the shows that I could. There was really nothing else for me to do,
Laverick says his work there was done, but his business partner's work was just beginning. At least 3 Missouri businesses filed suit against Full Circle Leisure, while disgruntled ticket holders filed 81 formal complaints to the Missouri Attorney General's office. Even the mayor says she never got paid back for $1,200 in tickets.
Because there was a lot of businesses that got beat out of a lot of money, and that's not something we can afford here. That smaller businesses, you can't do that.
I poured through 51 pages of bankruptcy claims. Full Circle Leisure owed Bowman Electric $40,000, Marshall Construction $9,500. In advertising alone, it was in debt nearly $75,000 to local papers and radio stations. All told, Full Circle Leisure was more than $830,000 in debt, and Laverick was no longer in town. In fact, he was 1,000 miles away and across the border in Toronto, Canada, the site of his next big project. Laverick began renovating an 85-year-old music hall in 2005, booking a number of shows before his landlord evicted him for owing more than $44,000 in unpaid rent.
And he wanted to, raise the rent by 70% at the end of our 5-year lease. Really, it's a business decision. When we left, that was just the right time to go.
Laverick was on the move again, this time landing his 3rd project in nearby Oshawa, Ontario, where he purchased the Regent Theatre. Laverick sold it at a profit and says it's still holding shows to this day. With that profit, Laverick created Columbia Hospitality Management, LLC, in order to buy the Tiger Hotel from its previous owners.
Get out of Columbia. I don't want them here. I don't want them doing business where my kids live.
Robert Powell is an ex-employee of the Tiger Hotel. Last October, Laverick opened an upscale bar, the V2 nightclub, in the hotel, hiring Powell as doorman. 3 months later, Powell says Laverick promoted him to V2 manager with a $35,000 salary. But in May, hotel management closed V2 and fired Powell.
I couldn't support my family for over 2 months.
Powell says Laverick still owes him back pay, $9,000 to be exact. So he filed suit against Laverick and Columbia Hospitality Management in small claims court. But Powell says because his salary was never negotiated in ink, the court ruled in favor of the Tiger Hotel.
You know, the judge found clearly that Robert Powell didn't have any validity to his claim, and that, you know, we indeed owe him nothing.
Laverick denies promoting Powell to manager, but Powell showed me an app on his iPad that he claims proves he was tracking inventory as a manager.
What do you say? Tiger Hotel alcohol inventory. Why would I have this? So you're saying, how could I have this alcohol inventory if I was just the doorman? If I was just the doorman.
Powell says if he saw Laverick today, he wouldn't ask why. He wouldn't lash out in anger. Instead, he'd offer this advice.
Find another business, man. Find another gig. You haven't even completed, you've never completed anything that you've done in the United States or Canada. Everything you do, you fail.
Laverick says that's not true.
I think at the end of the day, you've only got to look at the past projects that I've done, and they are finished.
Laverick cites the Oshawa, Canada venue as one of his successes, and it is still operating. He also claims the Toronto venue he started is a success, the one he left owing tens of thousands of dollars in unpaid rent. Coming up tonight at 10, I'll tell you how and why the city is helping to fund the hotel's restoration with this owner and his spotty track record.